Alright, looks like we're hopping into the game here. Let's see who we've bought.
They
So,
can, in fact, take an 8th and still win if the appropriate other team gets a poor placement.
so here are some interesting picks. Silk Sword has gone with Muhu, which yeah, I think is a pretty good pick if you do want to just get an average place finish. Team Shockwave though, we've gone with Long Yao. So that's a
Oh,
no cat
they
girl
got me.
here.
No, there is a cat girl here,
Oh,
just
there is a cat girl here.
not.
That's true.
Yeah.
Also, Fate of Side Job is the pick for Muhu. Part of me wonders if that's just because it says +10 Destiny.
Uh,
uh,
honestly, if yeah, if I just needed a 4th to close the event, 10 Destiny does not sound bad. Especially because Tiger players are intending to take most of their character fates anyway.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not a
exactly.
huge cost. You mostly can do that.
Um, we have the Jiang Ximing and Tan Xuan both have Mastery of Taoist Rhyme, so two characters who are generally pretty late game focused have a little bit of extra late game in their deck.
All right, here's a potential look into the Long Yao pick.
Mm-hmm.
It's so unlikely that Shockwave could upset Silk Sword at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's possible, it would take a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So if Shockwave is just willing to say, you know, we're playing for 2nd place, well,
Mm-hmm.
they're in a very good spot to take 2nd place, and Long Yao is a very good character to walk it into a 2nd or 3rd with Dragon Scale.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I'm
In
curious, I
fact,
don't.
I once infamously managed to lose power on round 8, and so my router and modem shut down, and I still got 2nd with Long Yao. I had 90-something Destiny with a great Sword Intent board, and yeah, when AFK, still got 2nd.
Alright, both of our Muku's a painter, Shabu musician, but more of a classic pick. Yanchen Alexa, Jiang Ximing painter, Long Yao elixirist, Tanchion musician, and painter Lin Xiaoyue. Huh.
Elixir Long Yao is not a frequent choice. You usually expect to see musician or painter. Do we have a fate branch for Long Yao that lends credence to playing Cloud Swords or multi-hit spam?
I think it was just my fate, my choice, but I'll take a look. You know, if you're talking about
Okay.
strategies for top 4ing, you know, Cloud Sword, Elixir, Long Yao. That was the,
Yeah, that does have good mid-game power, and also you can eat Destiny elixirs to complement your Dragon Scales.
pretty normal stuff. Two characters early breaking through. So let's have this Long Yao. So it is my fate, my choice. We're not rolling on one. We're looking to just break through and play whatever we draw at this stage. The Musician Tantrion's a bit of a, you know, a classic pick, but one that I feel like's fallen out of favor a little bit. You don't see Musician Tantrion very much on the ladder these days.
It is very infrequent, and I'm not sure I've ever seen it not force a dedicated healer build.
Yes. On that, we agree. Looks like this is a pretty heavy Earth start from Quinzian. I wonder if we're going to be just leaning all the way into Earth, or if this is just a sort of sojourn on the way to playing Vigorous. Our evil fish Tanchion has not found any healer cards yet, and this point is not the best tech card against Tiger, but the Falling Thunder rolls high enough to clinch it out.
The point's not even on a star point, so they're not. You know, they're just playing it because it does more damage than normal.
So Shabu has found Kindness Tune, so that's going to be her plan for a while. It's Long Yao making a good show of it against Jiang Ximing, but not quite getting there. Jiang Ximing going to be playing the role of bully here for quite some time. Really wants to find 3 copies of dotted around there. We've locked a fly. Nothing for Tiger. Ooh, 5 Thunder's lock for the Elixir Yanchen. That is Gotta be
Is our
the best thing you can find if that's your plan.
tiger a painter?
Yes, both tigers are painter at the moment. We have Water Spirit
Okay.
Secret Seal tiger here, which is you know, it's a card you can play. Doesn't seem so special anymore now that Child draws it, you know, every other game.
Oh, it always feels special to me when I draw it.
Well, it's a Billows without any of the work, which generally suits these boards kind of well, though. This tiger here, this is not Quenjian. They have a Metal Spirit formation and no metal cards, which is a little awkward. The little random Earth cards. Getting the job done here, but looking to be augment that
the
pretty
draws
soon.
of the other tiger player have been substantially more synergistic. They have they just have double Earth form Earth cards. Still getting bullied by Zhang Jimeng. Something needs to be done about that board, honestly. We've had enough rounds of nerfs to DX that we can finally start to maybe take a look at some of the old guard again.
So here's the question.
Complaining about Sparrowtail.
Do we... It looks like here we've made the decision we are, but do we wait one more turn to keep dotted around to try to fish for the fourth dotted around and fourth Sparrow's tail? And here it looks like we are saying, you know what, I am not going forward with this game without finding a max dotted around.
I actually am firmly in the camp of waiting one more round, right? Waiting one more round means that you can just break straight to tier 3. Skip right past tier 2.
Yeah, I think we could have done that this round if we ate those cards and we're going to play Starburst over level 1 Astral Move Flank. Actually, I think with the upgrade,
yes.
with the buff to Astrology, you don't even need to eat the flank.
Oh, good point.
So
forgot that Astrology got that.
Yes, +1 cultivation. We love to see it. No, the Kindness Tune and Yan Chen kind of just bouncing off each other here. Narrow victory over Quinjian, which again, your Team Shockwave, it's what you want to see. Oh, we spent our rolls and didn't find the dotted around. That is the worst case scenario. We did max the Sparrow's Tail, so it's not all doom and gloom, but the reach of this board is...
we got more copies of Flank as well.
Yes, we found 2 copies of Flank and a Sparrow's Tail, but critically, no upgraded dotted around. Dotted around's a card you sometimes end up playing like into tier 5 with him, so it's pretty rough to not have the maxed copy on hand.
Other times, you just rip a Starry Moon off the top and go, oh, what was I worried about?
That's certainly what we want to see happen here for this Jiangxi meeting. That is the dream. Yeah, so Yan Chen, we know, will be leaning into the hexagram stuff. They have a Locked Fire Thunders as Elixirus. That's pretty much their only sort of build path here. The main question becomes how heavy is it star power versus things like hexagram form aside, but plenty of time to work that out.
I think you actually missed the most notable thing about what this Yan Chen is doing, which is that this is probably the first time in the history of Yishan that anyone has ever played a max fundamental elixir.
You know, Titania, we were talking about Elixir Long Yao earlier, and one of the first guides I ever saw for this game, I think when 5 Elements didn't even have Tiger yet, was a guide for getting to 6k with Long Yao, and it advocated for Elixir Dragon Scales, and said if you find 4 copies of Fundamental Elixir, that's an inroad to play Dharma in the late game. So there was a time, maybe it's not history, maybe it's prehistory, where someone not only did that, but did that like every other game.
That was the dark days of Dragon Scales. Not only did it not give you the flat +10 Destiny, it wasn't even capped at 18, it was 20 was the maximum loss.
True, yeah.
What a strategy.
Well, you know, You have to pay our our respects to the elders of the game.
That's me. I just recited the the abilities of that era. I'm
Alright, so Quinzian has found 2 cliffs, which is a pretty good place to be. Staring down a pretty hodgepodge board from this Long Yao. Neither of these cards getting their injury effects. Shoshi has taken Dragon Scales, so these mid-game losses are pretty bad. 16 Destiny loss, Nightmare scenario.
Oi, Trelicast, that's not what I said, okay? Elders of the game, alright? I'm a wee young. Obviously, I've just been playing Xian so long because I slid out of the womb with Dueling Wong Parasol in hand.
Sounds like a very unpleasant experience. Alright, we've got Xiaobu has found 2 Burying the Loads to buff up their physique gain. We have only level on Heartbroken Tune, but 9 rolls to find some more. Shouty. Ooh, this is something. So we're using Spirit Collisions to fuel Healing Elixir, Egret Spirit Sword. I don't know if this is the vision that I had. Yeah.
I believe then we block some because we're regenerating to a turn.
We did not.
Rain gives 1 chi.
Jiang Shiming did not rip Starry Moon, but we did rip the 4th dotted around, so we have successfully finished our board. Picked up this fly on tier 4 to give it that little bit of extra reach, so we're looking pretty happy here up until tier 5, reminding that he does have the 8 copies of Taoist Rhyme in the deck to help find Exodia or Star Power, depending on which direction he wants to go in. Alright, Healing Elixir. Get us out of here.
Show your stuff. Oh yeah.
Well, it looks like we did not take Soul Stat. So I guess we're not doing Exodia here because this normal attack did not turn into a Soul Stat like I expected it to. So we are all in on Star Power, which has been the theme for these Jiangxi Mings. Very little, aside from a brief foray yesterday, very little respect for the Exodia board.
And Solstat in general, right? I mean, it's worth noting that you can absolutely play Solstat on boards that aren't stun boards. It is just, a 4 damage, skip their turn.
Instead, we've taken Elixir Additional Side Job, which, that's an interesting pick, Elixirist. I've taken this anytime when I haven't been memeing. It's been generally to just put more copies of the side job that I originally picked in my deck. So like more copies of Finishing Touch and I guess the Wonderful Strokes is not that impressive. You don't get any more copies of Last Dow Paint. I don't know. Maybe Elixir is fine.
I mean, certainly I think it's fair to say that the Painter side job choice has more power in its lower tier cards than Elixir does, right?
Yes.
Ask Dow by Paint and Practice Writing are both huge draws of the side job. Whereas Elixirist, when 3 out of the 6 cards you've added are just consumption perma buffs, that's a huge deal.
For sure. A little bit of skill on display here by this Jiang Qiming. Roll Guard Up on your Falling Paper Clouds to block Flying Fang Spirit Sword. Flying Fang Sword.
Break the whole board with extreme Paper Cloud skill.
Yep, I mean, 33% of the time it works every time. Delongia picking up some wins here into the Kindness Tune. We've got a fair few Kindness Tunes floating around here.
It is also true that 100% of the time it works 33% of the time.
Alright, Quentin taking a little bit of a topple here. So we actually did take the additional side jobs and here we have just added more painter cards, which...
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Back up, cat girl. Is that splash ink assuming you're gonna hit flaw?
What's the odds on Splash Ink working? Much less than 33% of the time. Eternal
1 in
Injury,
6.
Weaken, Flaw, Decrease Attack, Entangle, and Wound. Well, you know,
Yeah.
the Entangle might
I
be
guess,
good. The Wound's fine.
The wound is also a salient hit, yes. But a lot of the others, there's not that much point in delivering them right there.
Yes. This Dragon Scales is not looking the most inspired unless we can hit a really good win streak up to tier 5. This is...
I want to watch this to see what element she or what status she rolls. I have to know this one.
Decreased attack, you know, that is pretty good. It looks like we're just...
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, it looks like we're just running as a
Splash
value
Ink
card.
earlier, I think Splash Ink is decreased attack is the best hit.
Yes. It's like this Longya has played gone crazy and had very bad luck.
Okay, I didn't realize that she had moved the Splash Ink earlier. Earlier Splash Ink, somewhat reasonable card, but
This is just...
when you play it in slot 5, you're really just calling what it's gonna hit at that point.
This is just Anthemania formation. Well, there's Dragon Scales, putting in the hard yards. Xian managing to snatch that one away from the Xian. I don't think she was expecting that. The Kindness Chain was off the board. Alright. And then here setting up for their late game. Obviously, we're going to be playing Landslide for sure. Is this to play or to try to take advantage of Sky Spirit Tune? Okay, that seemed a little ambitious. Very good job.
It's a lot ambitious, but I still love it.
A very good job of drawing Cliffs, which if you're gonna draw a card, it is a pretty good one to pick up.
Yeah, definitely one of the big appeals on 5 elements is just how strong of a tempo card Cliff is.
Yeah. So this Divine Brush just hits like 5 element blast or something and just takes out the Xian for you. I guess you could put it after the Thorn, so you have fire, earth, metal, and wood active.
A lot swings on what he puts Divine Brush after, right? Because it obeys the same rules of element activation as if it were the card that it rolled.
Yes. So generally you want to put somewhere... Wait a minute.
So, you know, he rules out something like Combine Worlds, where I guess you could only roll cards of the tier that you are at the highest, right?
I think you can just roll anything. I think it doesn't have any rules. Chokehold is a very, very funny hit. See? You can hit 5 elements Blossom.
Oh my gosh. Does that consume the card?
No.
No, it does not. Okay.
So now the 5 elements
the
Blast is
field.
red, yeah. Scarlet Flame.
That's amazing.
That's less exciting.
I love the Thorn heal now.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Oh. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go... After this cast, I'm gonna be making friends with Divine.
It's just ordained
You know what's
victory.
extra incredible? That Burning Sky would have sucked if he hadn't already hit Blossom. He
Yeah.
needed it for it to be active.
That hit Scarlet Flame and then 3 Sect Treasures, right? It hit Chokehold, which hilarious to start things off. Blossom, ridiculous. And then Burning Sky for like 700 damage. Alright. Well, you know...
You get rid of it after that.
Surely you just put it at the end of your board. Out of respect.
Yeah, I mean, it's at this point it's clear that you're the chosen. I would just start looking to run more of them.
Just wanted it more, you know. This is why you add the tier 4 painter cards to your pool, so you can draw more divine brushes.
Or I mean maybe this is just some extended gambler's fallacy. He figures out he just used up all his divine brush luck for the next 2 years.
Time to go refill the inkwell. Alright, I haven't seen what Jiang Ximing has put together here. At the moment, it looks like it's still kind of in that phase of just kind of playing the cards we had on the previous time. Oh, there's a pretty rough skip. We do have 3 copies of Heaven Hex. Yeah, which is not a bad place to be. We're sort of missing the star power stuff, but having a whole bunch of Heaven Hexes is a pretty good place to be.
Yeah, I mean, the big break point is just that you can hit that max Heaven Hex anytime, and max Heaven Hex is not a fair card. I have advocated many times that that card should be changed so that the chase threshold is always 2 more than the amount of hex it grants. Because max Heaven Hex is a better card than Break Cocoon. Like, that is a messed up card.
Put a cap on it like the unparalleled Spirited Sword.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when it upgrades, it should now be 2 chi, 2 hex, and it needs 4 hex to chase.
Yeah, like our Spirited Sword always needs 1 more chi than it provides to turn into a multi-hit. Yes.
I misunderstood. Yeah, that's what I think the card should do. But what I think doesn't matter. He's gonna run the broken card.
Alright, so we have 2 people who've had their cheat deaths popped. A pretty good Shower Bull board and a pretty unexciting, I think, regen tune board. Yanchen has a pretty well-assembled star power package, though they don't have the Polaris, which does make life a little bit hard with just the Star Moon to provide upside. Shouchi is also fighting Quinzian, so this is the 1st and 2nd place teams. Generally don't like seeing Dragon Realm on my board when I'm staring down an Earth board, but we'll see how it goes.
I'm not sure I agree with you. I don't think the gap between Star and Moon and Polaris is actually that large.
No, it's more that the Polaris just makes... I think the Polaris provides more damage than the hexagram former side would in this spot, so it's a little bit less...
okay. I see. We're not weighing it against Star and Moon, we're weighing it against former side.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Alright, so this is the part of the board that starts to look pretty bad here. Where we are dragon roaming into cliff defense. Would have been nice to get the necessity up on the dragon roam, but I don't think the board really supports that the way we'd like. Just barely taking lethal from the landslide.
These are the fights that we have dragon scale for. You know, if people aren't stacking a lot of block, that Long Yao board is otherwise pretty strong, actually. Gets in there very quickly.
So that is 2 people that just got eliminated. The Xiaobu and the Tenshuyan, neither getting to really realize their late game potential. This Tiger's Earth board looks a lot more complete than Quinzian. The Quinzian's has been doing just fine as is, but we've got the Flying Brush, the Finishing Touch, the other Flying Brush. Everything we could sort of want except for more upgrades. Both players holding a Marrow for the potential to transition into a board that's just playing a big Marrow setup. Something we've seen plenty of times though is this Cat Girl board just sort of seating itself at about 60 Destiny and then just staying there for the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, I kind of intuited that this Cat Girl was gonna be it's the sort of thing you expect to be fantastic on ladder, just chin checking everyone you come across. Like, hey, this this is the board that has some of the most counters in the game, but can you actually produce one?
Yeah.
But tournament players have been showing that it's shockingly resilient. You just have so many variants and tech cards and ways you can play around all these counters as you anticipate them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's still really holding its own even in this high-profile event.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like since it's just such a, sort of like you said, a board that feels like a kind of known quantity, it makes it very easy to underestimate it. I know I do a lot of the time, so yeah, seeing it just continue to rack up wins in these lobbies is really a point in its favor for sure.
Do we know if the two eliminated players went out at the same time? I believe they did.
Yes, they did.
Great, confirming that for you, Senpa.
That's a big loss for Quenzian there. Taking full 28, doing basically no damage there. Also, the Jiang Ximing has now been eliminated, so I feel like Quenzian has kind of just done their job at this point. They're looking at, I mean, unless they lose to this Yan Chen, which I don't know if this has the damage.
Guard seems like a.
Yeah, it's a little awkward though, right? Because we need to make the extra chi for it.
Yes, it is. I mean, our protagonists here are the 25 Destiny Tiger player and the Long Yao. Those are the representatives from the two teams that are still in contention to win the whole event.
Yes.
But if players drop out that aren't those two, it actually favors the Long Yao because her team is up substantially. The Tiger player really needs an upset on Long Yao to take the spot.
The Long Yao is actually from Team Shockwave, so the Tiger is the player who is happy for other people to go out. It's actually pretty rough for Team Shockwave because I don't feel like this matchup. I mean, we've seen this matchup into a board like this, right? It doesn't look very good. Dragon Room's kind of bricked. The burst damage isn't there. I think even if you Ice Spirit Guard Elixir through the first landslide, you probably don't do enough damage to kill them before the second. It's a pretty tough sell. We're very much out of Dragon Scale range. We took Recuperate on 30 to get the Dragon Scale value, so we're sort of on borrowed time here.
It's such a rough sell that they know they have to cut their Flying Shade and play a crummy Spirit Coercion as the substitute.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Because it's gonna get blocked if they go Flying Shade, and then they won't have enough chi to play their Giant Pipe.
And then unfortunately, it just kind of pushes the problem down the line because you still have this Dragon Room in slot 1 that is gonna have a very hard time chasing. Well, here's our defense. This is what we got. But this is a dream board for Earth Tiger. All the flying brushes, the combined wells, the landslides. It's really just everything you could ever ask for. So
we are gonna guard up another landslide here, but I think the last landslide is just gonna hit for 300 or something, right?
A meager 140. So it's the end of Long Yao. Quenzian also gets eliminated, so that's a split 4th and 5th. So Quenzian lost the fight to the Yanshan.
I think that likely seals it, and that means that Team Silk Sword are our champions. And this captain's match, though, is very live for who's taking second and third.
Yeah, I think without a better finish from Team Shockwave, that does put them out of range of that first place. All right. So, it's Yan Chen versus a stronger Tiger. And still sitting pretty in first place. Our cat girls continue to rack up the W's.
Mhm. There is maybe the possibility that that the Tiger player might be able to get enough block with Combined Worlds to live through Cat Blast.
Mhm.
But if the Cat Girl draws another Sword Intenser, that possibility is completely erased. There is no going over the tops, like surviving the burst. You simply have to kill her faster.
So Yanshin did defeat Quinzian, but this time I think the board is enough better than it was that I don't really like their chances. Maybe this turn is bad enough, actually. Really close. But unfortunately, Landslide doesn't really care if you get close.
It really doesn't, does it?
And we see Lin Xiaoyu actually does take down the board from Yan Chen. Alright, so we have drawn an ancient entangling vine as painter, which does seem kind of rude.
Sure. Again, it's a card that just sort of one-for-ones with the opponent's turn, but applies to Sword Intent.
Yes, and notably against a board like this, your ability to chase an Earth card into Landslide does pretty significantly change the texture of the deck. If you snag this with your Entangle, then the Landslide suddenly doesn't really do anything.
That's true. This is actually much better than I gave it credit for. If you hit it at exactly the right time, then the Landslide just tickles.
Yes, and that gives you more than enough time to extend out as far as you need to make sure you get the damage in. Let's see, so the three
There's
cards...
that extra SI surge.
There it is. So the three cards we're upgrading with this finishing touch are Surge and Surge, Spirit Cat Chaos. So yeah, it will do roughly 1,000,000 damage. So I think this looks pretty good, assuming that the Entangling does successfully defang the Landslide. That's interesting. So we are gonna eat a Landslide here, which I think is bad news for the cat.
I think it's no, it's not survivable. All right. If she had traded the sword defense with the entangling vine, though, that does catch it. And there's really not anything I think the Tiger can do to play around that. I think if he tries to have Landslide go off for the kill one turn earlier, he just can't get enough block for it to be meaningful. And then if you go a slot later, it runs into the entangling vine. Yeah. So I think she just has a lock to beat him on rematches.
So another thing that's been quietly going on here is the Yan Chen continues to win fights experience, where the sport is starting to get more and more upgraded. He's obviously beating both of these players forever. One thing I didn't notice was that he actually locked a great bodybuilding elixir. Oh no, this is the second Omen. My bad. I got excited for a moment there. Yeah, like wow, that is a brave call. No, we locked the 5 Thunders, of course.
I think it's actually he's upgraded the Fury Thunder, and then he has a Max Thunder and Lightning to follow up the 5 Thunders. So yeah. Even if you live the 5 Thunders, like the follow-up is pretty devastating here too.
Yeah. I feel like this God Up Elixir is either optimistic or very pessimistic, and I haven't really decided which one yet.
I think it's reasonable just because of lack of other cards to play. He formerly had double Thunder Hex Rhythm, which we're kind of used to reading at this stage of the game as like a really devastating card.
Right.
But
it's just
not. He's not playing Formicide. It's a 9 damage attack. So he just upgraded them, and yeah, just on card quality reasons, I think it's better to have 3 guard up and see what it does for you.
This is an interesting one. This has gone a little bit better for the cat girl. I still think this is dead to landslide, though. I guess it's certainly dead to landslide. Okay, so cat girl gets eliminated. We're looking at a tiger on a pretty high amount of destiny against a Xian board that is, yeah, it's pretty upgraded. We're looking at strike twicing a Ice Spirit Guard Elixir.
I mean, how many attacks are actually in the Tiger cycle? It's 2, right? I think we have a Shuttle and a Landslide.
Yes.
So strike twice guard up Elixir does give you forever to kill him, if you can get through all of the block.
No, child, there's another game after this. So we've got some options here as Xian. We have a sideline, which is what looks like we're exploring at the moment. A bunch of ice guards, which does run a little bit of risk of playing badly around Cliff if you lean too heavily on them. I do not have a lot of insight in how I would build this board. It feels like you're kind of picking between a lot of very valid options.
I think the side is I mean, it's being played around here. The Tiger has shifted the Shuttle to the side position. If Xian has a line available to side at a later timing, you can make that very devastating by breaking up the chase of an Earth card into the landslide. But this is basically the only side that Tiger's deck can tolerate without taking appreciable loss for it.
Yeah.
And they managed to line it up so it happens. So very well done to the Tiger player.
Definitely. That's sad. We now have a bunch of guard up to chunk through.
It's a lot, and it's even more if you keep siding the Shuttle, though I don't think you do now that the finishing touch is out of the deck.
Yes, that cycle worked out a lot better. The landslide doesn't get played with any defense. It's the third side that gets you.
Apparently, jeez.
So, when I see a guard up elixir, I start to think, okay, maybe I need to run this cliff again.
I feel like if I'm the Xian, I just run it back because somehow that got there, and I was calling out how this was like some perfect 1 in a million positioning by Tiger to line up the only side that their deck can even tolerate. So how's he gonna change his board to get around it? And you're just gonna side some other card if he shifts, and that's gonna be much more devastating. But he doesn't believe in that.
Yeah, no, I think I like it. Like the turn 2 side, just barely gets there when it hits the worst possible card in the deck. So maybe you just run it. It's funny. The board keeps changing around to be better or worse. Meanwhile, this Xian is just like, alright, this is my board. I'm done thinking about this shit. You figure it out.
Yeah.
This seemed to work last time. I just trust that we'll get there.
Well, I've said what side of the mind game I would fall on, so now we can check how it would have landed.
I mean, this is a pretty.
The answer is very well. I would have sided a Marrow Rhythm, and that feels pretty good.
Well, here we are again with 3 stacks of guard up in play. Wow, we're still not running the cliff. So this is just a million turns for Xian to whittle Tiger down with these attacks. Though
a million turns and star power is climbing, even if steeps are climbing as well.
Alright. The star power does get there. So Team Evil Fish takes down the first place. A bit of a drag out game there. That one had some swings in it.
Yeah, it's not often you see that much cultivation. 113.
Hmm.